Hey everyone, it's Ivan, kitbadger.com, out here with my course Loadout from the 3-day Urban Precision Rifle class at Thunder Ranch. Thunder Ranch offers a bunch of different courses. Kind of their bread and butter is defensive pistol as well as urban rifle. And urban precision rifle is just that, urban rifle with emphasis on precision like surgical shooting. So with that in mind, 3 days on the range down there in Lakeview, Oregon, which pretty much a dice roll any time of year. Been there in the middle of June and had it like snow and sleet. This time I looked at the weather, it's supposed to be pretty much hot and sunny the whole time. So with that in mind, go over basically layers and stuff. I would start bottom up. I actually forgot them, but I ended up wearing a new pair of Lems I got. Really awesome shoes, I like them. They're zero drop, really comfortable, breathable. They definitely have a little more, well, definitely more aggressive tread, as well as just a little bit more cushion than kind of like the Primal 3s or something like that. Overall, still a minimalist shoe, and they did awesome for me. We definitely did some hiking, whether it was going up just kind of loose stuff or even up and over rocks. Did some really cool shooting down from up high, which was cool. And then lots of times on gravel. So those did great for me. I forgot them, don't have them here. And also with all of this stuff, there'll be links down below if you want to check it out. For all 3 days, I wore the same pants and the same shirt. Changed underwear, changed socks, but I don't know, wore the same stuff. In part because I only have one pair of these and they're awesome. These, I think, pretty sure I reviewed these before. These are the combat pants by Varustelika, company out of Finland, hence the MO5 camouflage pattern. And a couple of reasons I chose these. One, I like them and they're really comfortable. And pocket layout, pretty cool. I would usually throw spare magazines in cargo pockets if I needed to include the day we hiked up the hill. And then the first day before I was wearing, I guess the last 2 days, kind of wearing load-bearing gear. Before that, I would open up this pocket on my left thigh, draw magazines out of there as I needed them. Is it super quick? No, not really. In part, while I like these pockets, they're deeper than you necessarily want to draw a mag from. They, like I said, sit pretty deep in there, but you can do it, it works. And the thing I do really like about them is they actually have pockets right here for knee pads. And they use these right here, which are honestly like this combo right here, probably the best thing I've used with respect to actual knee pads, because I do have some Arc'teryx kneecaps. I've used them before. They're fine. You can put them over any pants. They tend to, basically your pants end up bunching up, things like that. With these, they're in there, so they stay put. And you can basically adjust these tabs behind your knees so you don't have a bunch of fabric bunching up, but at the same time you have these, which things I don't enjoy, honestly, is policing brass, but it's part of the game at Thunder Ranch. And as a consequence of that, it's a beautiful, pristine facility that you could go shoot on. But you also have to pick up brass. So having these definitely clutch during that. And like I said, it's going to be hot and sunny pretty much the whole time, so I ended up wearing this before, or reviewing this before maybe, and I wore it all 3 days. This is a sun shirt by Surefire, has a hood. I would throw it up every once in a while. Most of the time I was wearing a hat, but sometimes I'd throw this up just to keep the sun off my neck, especially by the end of the day when we're just policing brass or whatever. But did a great job, kept me from getting sunburnt, so yeah, good things there. Next, kind of personal protective equipment and other stuff. So wearing prescription lenses, have these guys right here, reviewed them before, continue to wear them. These are my Smith Director Elite with some Zeiss ballistic prescription lenses. Do a great job. Eventually I'll probably try something else. These, I don't think I've reviewed. I've used them for years. These right here are OpsCore amps. Amazing headset, especially if you need what they do, i.e. this one is comms compatible. You can run a down lead to a push to talk, boom mic, all that stuff. They're amplified, which is great. Hearing range commands cut off when loud noises, i.e. gunfire. But I ended up actually using these really just the first day because I didn't have kind of the rest of my kit on. More on that in a minute, but yeah, did a great job for me. Other things I bring, sometimes I use, sometimes other people use. I ended up bringing this right here, which is my Fix-It stick set. Things are awesome, really incredible. One thing I would say is, as much as I love these things, the bits that they come with are not very good. I would encourage you, if you end up picking up one of these, go get like some DeWalt bits or something like that, like made for impact. They hold up better than the ones that come with it. I didn't use it. Other people used it. Again, just good to have. Also something I brought and saw a little bit of use. This guy right here, which is the Garmin Xero C1, I think it is, model. But it is a chronograph. And so, again, I don't know that I actually used it. I might have used it for a minute, but definitely loaned it to a buddy so he could use it, chronograph some of the ammo he was shooting, because again, urban precision rifle, trying to just gather some data and get the best Xero and dope you can get to make those hits at distance. And then lastly, with kind of this stuff, this bag right here by Coltac. Pretty nice. You have the strap right here, so you can go ahead and grab it. Or at one point, I think I actually ran my sling through it, so it stayed more or less on my gun, and I could throw it up when I needed it. And this one actually has basically this elastic, and so you can have your gun sink down into it. I will say, as much as I like this, it's definitely a compromise. I would rather have this full of sand right up to the point I need to carry it or do anything else. Just because the heavier the bag is, honestly, generally, the more stable it is. Of course, I don't want to carry that thing uphill or anywhere else for that matter if it's full of sand. So this did good for what I needed it for. And honestly, probably one of my favorite pieces of gear with respect to any type of carbine course. This bucket right here by Dillon Rifle Company. And so there's all kinds of cells around it, basically made to fit your magazines, and then namely rifle magazines. And then also over here on the far right, there's a couple kind of like pistol cells, or you could put anything else similarly sized. And then there's also kind of this catch-all bag right here. And on top of it, see this, so many magazines. So basically, as you end up shooting magazines, or as you need magazines rather, pull them out of one of the respective cells, or this guy here, and then when you don't need them anymore, chuck them in there and just kind of shoot through. And so this thing I think was originally made for shooting from helicopters, hence all these points where you can lash it down, and yeah, not have magazines floating around the inside of your helicopter, probably a good thing. And I have used it a lot. Thing is really cool. And the other thing I like is, as you can maybe see, lots of magazines. So being able to essentially jam up all my magazines, stuff from this right here, 40 round PMAG, again, a bunch of 30 rounders, bunch with the Dose boot from Die Free Company, to include a nice 20 rounder. That came in handy, especially on the Punisher run where you end up in the back of the truck bed. And yeah, basically get all these magazines filled up, which, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 magazines. Enough for the entire day. So rather than having to go back constantly and jam mags, which a lot of people do, totally fine, I would rather not do that. One, I'm usually dealing with my camera, so swapping batteries, SD cards, whatever it may be, or just going to drink some water and not having to jam mags during the day. So really handy, one, having this out there sitting on the range deck, so I could just go grab a fresh mag, throw an old mag in there, and also just having all my mags jammed up to begin with. Really handy piece of gear. As far as my kind of web gear setup using this right here. This whole setup right here is from High Speed Gear, and at the heart of it, there's this placard that you can peel this back part, Velcro on the back, so if you're wearing a plate carrier, you can throw it on there, clip it into your plate carrier, but I have it set up as a standalone chest rig. And over on this side, there's a radio pouch, Baofeng UV5R, this antenna by Iron Spear Outfitters, pretty awesome. I have it secured to part of the H harness. Wire comes over, secured in there, comes up, and then right here, also on the H harness, I have my push to talk, which is secured, which is actually pretty cool. So this unit comes down to an inline push to talk and goes to your radio, in this case, Kenwood 2-pin, I think it is, for the Baofeng. And this essentially sits, hangs out over your ear. You have your boom mic, and then you have your earpieces. These actually use Surefire EP4, EP5, forget which ones. Nice and comfortable, stay put in your ear for the most part, unless you bang this thing around too much. But it's pretty cool. I mean, it's basically a turnkey comm setup, which while we didn't do a bunch of communication stuff in this class, pretty important, especially if you're working with people. And oftentimes people are aware of it, but shoot, move, communicate, which usually more along the lines of communicate, move, and then shoot. So having that capability, definitely good. And I was basically running 2 magazines up here. So this is enclosed. Works good, not very fast to draw out of, but the idea being is regardless of what happens, always having 1 magazine. These are pretty good, and you can actually put retention strap on top. I like to leave it open as basically emergency reload. Then time and opportunity, I'll actually bump this up, or I'll just shoot through and next emergency reload's coming out of this. Not the fastest, but definitely a secure way of keeping that magazine there. And yeah, I mean, didn't need tons of magazines, so this actually worked out pretty good for me. Which brings me to guns, plural, and I will go ahead and speak to this one first. So anytime I go to a shooting course, pretty much always bring a spare gun, because sometimes things happen. And while my primary gun did not go down, I ended up bringing this one as a backup. This right here is the Griffin Mk2, I guess it is. Mk2 low receiver, 12.5 inch upper receiver, and then this is their Optimus 6. Pretty cool can, haven't finished my review on that. On here also is one of the Inforce lights. This one goes back and forth between visible and IR, and then a EOTech on here. And then the Sling, well, actually this is pretty cool too. This metal sling keeper, this one right here being from, totally blanking, 100 Concepts, metal one, QD, or M-Lock rather, going on there. And then the sling right here by Lunar Concepts, 2-point sling. And this thing's great rifle. And someone shot it very well for 2 days of that course. So someone had a gun that ended up going down on that first day, and not really sure what was happening. Wild dispersion, could have been something with barrel nut, who knows. And I mean, you showed up to shoot for 3 days. So I was like, hey man, I have a gun. He was already shooting a EOTech, so this one already had EOTech on it, already zeroed. He was shooting with a magnifier, so he just pulled the magnifier off of his rifle setup, threw it on here, and spent 2 days shooting this. And this thing did good. He shot it really good, and got to shoot through that course, which is awesome. And glad I brought a spare, even though I did not need it. Which then brings me to the rifle I was shooting during that 3-day urban precision rifle class. So I guess go ahead, run through the whole thing, how I have it set up. Up front is the Surefire RC3. Awesome can, does a good job. This right here is the Bipod by Q. It's their kickstand. And so you can easily deploy it there or all the way down, twist, out, twist again, and really handy. A couple things. One, we obviously confirmed and zeroed at the beginning of the class. definitely use the bipod, and a number of other places too, where time and opportunity to deploy it, especially depending on distance target as well as what the accuracy standard is. So being able to have something, one, lightweight that can just live up there, or if for whatever reason I need to take it off, really easy to do that. This right here is the, I want to say Really Right Stuff, I guess, makes this clamp, and then this adapter plate by Dependabilt. So what this allows me to do is, if I had Arca rail, I could use it, or I do a pick rail, so I can throw this thing on there, go ahead, clamp this thing down, or in a pinch, I can pull it off if it's going to be in the way too. And moving back up here, this light from Inforce, haven't finished it, same as the other one, goes back and forth between two spectrums, pretty handy, mechanical lockout right there. And this rail right here, which I actually really like. This is new from Bravo Company, new-ish. It is their Raider rail, this one being the M13, I believe it is, 13-inch rail. Right here is hand stop, the Tiger Claw from Die Free Company. And for the sling, I was running this guy right here. I actually really like this. This is the Hydura, I believe it is, from Viking Tactics. Here's where I landed on slings. As much as I like some really simple captured tail slings, so there's never like a tail hanging off or anything like that, this actually does a good job with this Velcro piece. And this actually will let you get a sling really tight. And you can loosen it up and use it like that too. The reason I mention that is because if you need a gun tight up against your body, generally captured 2-point sling won't do it. You need something with a tail so you can just keep cinching this thing all the way down. This does a good job with that, to include building shooting positions as well. Right here is grip, Kung Fu grip from Die Free Company, and on top here in this Leupold mount is this Leupold 2-10 first focal plane. And then also, that fell off. Inside here, I did have my, now it's down on the ground, my little sticker from Sobcheck Security LLC, basically a little dope chart. And the stick on them, it's pretty good. It's not amazing, which kind of made that way, because you essentially can swap them out, peel them off, put new ones on every time you change loads, whatever you happen to be shooting. But how did this thing do for me? It actually did really good. I really enjoy shooting this rifle. Shoots really good. Did not shoot super well with frangible, which that's just honestly kind of a dice roll. Some guns shoot frangible pretty well, others not so much. And part of this class was absolutely shooting frangible ammunition. So while I would have loved to, this thing had grouped better with frangible, it didn't necessarily hold me back either. As far as what we were shooting with that frangible, the accuracy standard I needed to maintain and the distances didn't really matter. And then when we ended up doing some other shooting, no longer needed frangible, and I had a bunch of, I think, just M193, some PMC. This thing actually shoots that really well, and I use that for kind of all the other shooting, whether we're shooting on brown range or shooting up on the mountain, down at targets, and thing did awesome. I will say with this optic, a couple things. One, I love the magnification range. I love a bunch of things about this optic. I don't necessarily like the reticle, and this is the TMR reticle. I don't think I finished reviewing it. They have a much better reticle out now. This one honestly is just kind of fat, and it is what it is. The magnification range, arguably almost too much for this class, just because of the accuracy standard. And man, something I find myself doing is if I have magnification, I will use it, usually to my detriment, in that you'll crank this thing up because you'll be like, man, I want the bullet to go right here. Where in reality, all you need is a red dot for like the type of shot you're making. And with the red dot, very easily are you like, all right, good enough, bam, send it. versus with magnified optic, getting sucked into it and like, I really want a super precise shot. And I mean, honestly, this class you absolutely could have shot with just a red dot and a magnifier. Probably would have seen you through, especially one of the like 4 or 5x magnifiers. But this thing did a good job, and just had to remember to continue to work that magnification. 2 was never really too much, but always want to make sure run that thing back down to 0, which sometimes I remembered, sometimes I forgot. Oh yeah, other thing probably worth mentioning. See if, there we go. I love Surefire cans. They're incredibly durable, and while I like a lot of the different Surefire muzzle devices, some of them are probably the best, whether it's their flash hiders or if you want to break, the brake. Warcomp also works really well, also does not play well at all with their cans. So shooting this thing 3 days straight, there was tons of carbon in here, totally carbon locked this thing. As I just showed you, it's hard enough to get it off now, but yeah, I was able to break the locking collar free and could not for the life of me get the can off, but per Surefire, you shoot that thing off. So loaded up some frangible and sent around, and then went and retrieved my can. No harm, no foul, but yeah, that happened. Coming away from that, is there anything I would have changed as far as gear, setup, layout, anything like that for that class? Not really. I mean, everything did a good job for me, and awesome class. Like 3 days of shooting, doing some amazing stuff, shooting through loopholes, stuff up high, like all kinds of shooting. Really good time out there, and honestly, all this equipment did a good job for me. Did I make all my shots? No, but definitely was not equipment related. It was just me missing shots. And yeah, pretty rad time. But if you're interested in checking out any of the stuff, there'll be links down below. You can check it out. And as always, thanks for joining us at kitbadger.com. Look forward to seeing you next time.